It's a great time to be a Souls fan because we have what looks to be some excellent games coming from the Souls-like subgenre. Today we're going to talk about Lies of P and Lords of the Fallen. A quick shout out to everybody that's watched my recent videos on the classes and also the mechanics of Lords of the Fallen. If you haven't gotten a chance to see those, they will be linked in the description. I appreciate all the support I've received recently on these videos, and I can't thank everybody enough, so I really appreciate it. Remember, I'm doing a giveaway at 1,000 subscribers. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed to the channel. Let's start off with Lies of P. For the longest time, we've wanted a Bloodborne 2 or at least a remaster, and our hopes have yet to be fulfilled, but we may have the next best thing in Lies of P. I recently played the demo. Yes, I was late to the party, but I recently played Lies of P demo, and I just want to say that if you haven't checked it out, it's an absolute try. It's free, just give it a shot, it's absolutely worth it. I noticed several comparisons to Bloodborne as I played through the demo. Number one, and the most obvious, is the art style and the atmosphere. Aesthetically, it feels almost copy and paste when it comes to the atmosphere and world design. It has a dark gothic Victorian era feel to it, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. We'll have to wait and see when we get our hands on the full game to find out if it separates itself and finds its own identity or not. But, like I said, it's not necessarily a bad thing that the world feels a lot like Bloodborne. It's kind of what everybody's been begging for, right? I'm adding this in later, but a couple things that I honestly can't believe I overlooked and I want to mention is first, the premise where all the inhabitants have kind of gone mad. In Bloodborne, it was the infected blood. In Lies of P, the puppets have gone mad, but we don't know the exact cause. When we find Geppetto, he does say it's his fault, though. So we got to figure out exactly what it is that made them mad. Also, talking to NPCs through windows, very much copy and paste from Bloodborne. Next up, let's talk combat. The combat is an area where it is similar, but it definitely has its own feel to it, in my opinion. You have what is essentially the rally system, where if you get attacked and you lose health, you have the opportunity to recover some of that lost health by attacking and landing hits on enemies. I want to add that where it is similar to the rally system, it differs in a way that you only can regain some of your lost health if you're attacked while blocking. If you're not blocking, it's all straight damage, but as long as you're blocking, you have the opportunity to recover some health by dealing damage to your enemy. When locked onto targets, you don't have a roll, you only have dash, which is very similar to Bloodborne. Something that is different from Bloodborne, though, but takes clear inspiration from Sekiro is the Legion Arm, or aka the Shinobi Prosthetic. As you play through the game, you'll gain different variations of the arm that will grant you new abilities and allow you to customize the way you approach combat. Overall, combat felt pretty good. In my opinion, the only negative I have is that it didn't feel like the dash was very effective when trying to get out of the way of larger enemies' attacks. It's been a while since I've played Bloodborne, but I'm not really sure how effective the dashing was to get out of the way of attacks. Maybe you had to unlock and actually roll around. Lock-on combat wasn't quite as effective in that game. I can't really remember. It's been a while. Let me know in the comments. Did you like the dash mechanic, or would you prefer to be able to roll? Up next, let's talk about the weapons. Like Bloodborne, when the game opens, it gives you three options, essentially a strength, a dex, and a balanced option. Something unique to Lies of P is that both the weapon's blade and handle can be customized and each have their own stats and special ability known as Fable Arts. In the demo, these abilities cost range from 1 to 3 Fable Arts charges. In the most recent video on the Lies of P YouTube page, they showed off more unique weapons that honestly look like they could have come straight from Bloodborne, but again, that is not a bad thing, and I think the Fable Arts abilities do more than enough to set these weapons apart. Finally, the last thing I want to touch on very quickly are some other overall similarities to the Soulsborne games. First off, we have Hotel Krat. That's our Firelink Shrine or Hunter's Dream. The Stargazers are our bonfires with a lamp. Pulse cells, that's our Estus flask. Every time you rest, you refill to a certain amount. That is different from the blood vials that you get in Bloodborne. Sophia is like our firekeeper or the doll from the Hunter's Dream. You go to them to level up. And Ergo, that's our souls and our currency that we use throughout the game. Of course, there are many mechanics that will separate Lies of P from the Soulsborne games, but I wanted to take a moment and talk about the similarities between them. Bloodborne was undoubtedly an inspiration for this game, and it looks like they have done a fantastic job complementing a game that we hold in such high regard. Let me know in the comments what you think of Lies of P. Did you play the demo? Are you going to play it at launch? If I missed any other similarities, please let me know in the comments. Looks like this game will be out on September 19th, and thankfully this game will be on Game Pass, and that's where I plan on playing it. I'm excited for this one, and I think it's definitely worth playing. Up next, let's talk about Dark Souls 4. Wait, is that right? Oh, I mean Lords of the Fallen, my bad. If we're talking about copy and paste and heavy inspiration from Soulsborne games, then we have to mention Lords of the Fallen. Now, we know it's going to play and feel similar to Dark Souls 3 based on what we've been shown by the people that have gotten to play the game early. So when talking about Lords of the Fallen, I want to focus on what will potentially set it apart from Dark Souls, because we know that it's going to play very similar. Before we jump into the differences, I want to talk about something real quick, and that's a gripe I have when trying to play other Souls-likes. And that's the controls. To me, it's frustrating when I'm trying to play a Souls-like and the light and heavy attack are mapped to triangle and square instead of R1, R2, or RB, RT, respectively. I personally don't like having to get used to a whole new set of controls when I think FromSoft has shown a really good controller setup. Now, that's not to say it's perfect and can't be improved upon, but I prefer my attack, dodge, block, and healing remain somewhat consistent. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you prefer FromSoft's controller setup, or would you prefer another? First thing we need to talk about when it comes to Lords of the Fallen being different is the dual world system, Axiom and Umbral. This is accomplished thanks to Unreal Engine 5, but I think it's going to be a cool feature that will make traversal around Mornstead unique compared to anything we've seen yet. The idea that you're vulnerable when the lantern is up and can be pulled into Umbral at any moment is a really cool concept, and the fact that more time spent in Umbral means increasingly stronger enemies, along with more vigor, your souls, should make it really fun to try to survive as long as possible. Tying into the dual world system, something that hasn't been in many Souls-like is puzzle solving. I know Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor has implemented puzzles into the gameplay, but we haven't seen it in a game with the level of difficulty of a Dark Souls. Honestly, I'm not expecting the puzzle aspect in this game to be too difficult. I'm assuming it's mostly just use the lantern to find bridges, open pathways, go through bars, similar to what we've already seen in the gameplay trailers. Moving on to Umbral Parasites, basically a parasite that lives in Umbral that provides buffs to certain enemies and bosses. If you manage to kill the parasite, you negate the effects and level the playing field. Again, I think this is a good concept in theory, but I'm going to have to be hands-on and experience it for myself. I'm afraid that it could add too much to manage during combat and turn players away from the game, but only time will tell. Next up is the Soul Flay and Wither mechanic, loosely based on the rally mechanic in Bloodborne. It allows you to rip out the soul of an enemy and deal massive damage directly to the enemy, only requiring you to land a hit once the soul returns to the body. I'm pretty sure that all you have to do is land a single hit and then you get credit for all the wither damage that you built up, but again, it's going to be something that we have to play to figure out exactly how it works. On the flip side, you can receive wither damage by performing certain actions, but can negate all the damage by landing hits on the enemy before they land hits on you. In my opinion, this is awesome, and I'm really looking forward to testing out this mechanic in particular. I think this is going to give Lords of the Fallen its own unique feel when it comes to combat. Last thing I want to touch on is co-op. And I understand Dark Souls has co-op, but Lords of the Fallen supposedly is offering seamless combat from start to finish, which is something we, the fans, have been begging for in Dark Souls and Elden Ring. I may make another video talking about the co-op aspect of Lords of the Fallen just because it's a slightly larger topic and I don't want it to overtake the video, but we'll see. And I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. Comment down below, let me know which game you're looking forward to the most. Do you like some of the things these games are bringing to the table? Let's talk about them. I've had a ton of excellent comments on my video so far, so let's keep it up. I really enjoy having conversation and hearing your perspective on what you think of these games. Don't forget, I'm doing a giveaway at 1,000 subs, 3 $100 gift codes to the platform of your choice. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate everybody that checks out these videos, and I will catch you on the next one. Later.